Good afternoon, world. Simon O'Mara. Hope you guys enjoyed my other video. I have your genes, I know. This video will not be as long. I'll talk for maybe an hour and 10 minutes. I might make another video tonight, but I think after this video, I'm gonna call it quits with the CFL topic. I'll talk about something else. But I know you guys, I love your CFL videos. I know my CFL videos are sick, obviously. Because I've been talking about Sky Source for years, guys, right? Like 4 years. It gets a bit tiresome, and I talked about the hypothetical Pro Hockey League, which is not going to happen. I just have to entertain you guys. My dream is being a movie star like VJ, obviously, doing music. That's my dream. I like to make videos entertaining. I thought it'd be cool to talk about the CFL. The reason why I thought it'd be cool to talk about the CFL is I'm sick and tired of the American bias that's been going on for decades, man. It's ridiculous, man. The American guys get their time to shine up here in our country, and the Canadian athletes don't get their time to shine. Like, how's that fair? Like, these guys are not even Canadian. They're American, and they get to shine up here. Has the league grown? Yes, it has. As back in like 2000, early 2000s and like the 90s and the 80s, start like the CFL minimum salary was like $35,000. So a lot of athletes who came up here who played have to work part-time jobs to make a living. Whereas now the athletes make enough money to feed their families, right? Like the minimum salary in the CFL is $70,000. So the athlete comes up here and he plays pro football with $7,000. That's enough money for you to feed yourself, obviously, to pay your rent and feed. If you have a family, you can feed your family with $7,000. $7,000 is a nice paycheck, obviously. Not NFL money, but that's good money, obviously, right? After this, I'm going to upload. I'm going to go swimming. Then I'm going to go to the Denny's, get my check, and I'll get my, I don't know, my 6 beers. Or I might get just 2 40s. I don't know. I'll get 2 40s instead of 6 beers. And today I might get Bob's. I think I'm going to get Bob's, yeah. That's when you pitch. Yeah, if I was CFL commissioner, hypothetically, I would pitch that to the committee. Yeah, we need to make the game more competitive. How we make the game more competitive? Put the Canadian star athletes through better conditioning, training, off season, and better coaching, and you're going to get a better performance out of them. It won't be as good quality as the American players. We're going to get better quality out of them. You market them, and this thing could be. You can double your revenue in 10 years, but not going to happen, obviously. Yeah. And Herb Brooks is like, all-star teams fail because they rely heavily on the individual's talent. Obviously. I believe the CFL is not growing either because the fans of Canada don't care about Canadian football, or they're not resonating with the American talent. So I think the CFL is blinded by the American talent. They're relying solely on the American talent, people from a different country to grow the league. But the league is having minimal growth, so obviously something is not working. That's what I'll tell the committee. And you got a good point there. obviously. Yeah. I'm a genius. I know I'm a genius, obviously. Why? Even if you make all these videos when the CFL committee is watching and the commissioner, they're not going to make the change. No, never going to happen. They see this risky. It's risky. We don't think the Canadian players are good enough to put on a show on television for the fans. Obviously, even though it's good enough for the fans at the university when they watch the games, it's not good enough for the rest of people in Canada. I don't get it. I'm Sarah. Yeah. Because you're a genius. I saw that video. That's what you would pitch the CFL committee if you were a commissioner. Yeah, hypothetically speaking, if I was commissioner, I would have my notes. I'd be all prepped. Yeah, promote the homegrown talent on CFL on TSN. Do nationwide commercials. Obviously, promote the homegrown talent. Have the CFL panel talk about it, and put the Canadian pro athletes who get drafted and who are currently playing in the CFL do better conditioning, off-season training, and you can pull this off. It will not be on the same level of quality football as the American players, but it'll be almost as good. Yeah, it'll be almost as good, but the quality will dip a little bit. But if you promote the homegrown talent, the Canadians are now more invested in the players in the league because it's Canadian talent. They can relate to them. They can't relate to these American guys. They may be more talented, but they can't relate to them. Yeah. Yeah. All the American guys see, well, you're such a fucking dick, man. Well, you Americans put us Canadian down. Yeah, I would do. You know what I'm saying? When we come up here and we're all the stars of your league, we're better than you Canadian guys, Ivan. A little bit better than you guys. Ivan, is there a huge difference when you see the star Canadians and the American players? No, there's not that much of a difference, but the American players have the edge in talent. They're a little bit more athletic than the Canadian players on average. But there's not that much of a difference, obviously. And the CFL knows that, Ivan, there's not that much of a difference, but they're a bit more talented, man. They are. They put on more of a show, hence why all the American guys are all the stars of CFL, right? That's how it works, right? Yeah. Because they're blinded. The CFL's obviously blinded by the American talent. Yeah, Ivan, they're so talented, man. We need to have these guys be the stars of the league. But if you have them be the stars of your league, CFL, you now have no choice but to promote the American star players to the Canadian people. Obviously. But, I don't resonate with the American star players, so my guess is a lot of people in Canada are not resonating with these American players. They may be amazing players, but they're from a different country. It's tough to resonate with them because they're from a different country. Yeah, that would be my answer. Or the fans of Canada just don't care about Canadian football. They don't care about Canadian football, obviously. Yeah. Or even they're a bit more talented. Look, man, the best players in Canada for Team U18, I saw the game. They beat the best players in U18 in America, man. Team Canada wiped the floor with Team USA. I'm not lying, all you Americans. I saw the game. The first time my oldest brother played for Team Canada wiped the floor with Canada. They beat them 41-3. The second time Canada wiped the floor with Team USA. I'm not lying. They beat your Team USA, man. Obviously. It was 41 out of 23 or something. They beat them pretty bad, man. Yeah. Yes, the Canadian players are very talented, almost as good as the American players. The American players are more talented, and I know, but you underestimate the Canadian talents. I'm sorry. Oh. Ivan, is the CFL Combine very competitive? Yes, it is. It's good quality football. I watch it and it's good. Like the star team players are amazing. Athletes, man. The O linemen are amazing. The D linemen are amazing. The linebackers, the running backs, the receivers. They put on the show at the combine. They're amazing. Like it's good enough quality. Ivan, it is, but they're not the American guys, Ivan. That's why you got to get rid of them. Get rid of the American guys. Yeah. Yeah. Some Sarah. So why it's tough for the Canadian fans. Yeah, it's tough for the Canadian fans to take the CFL draft seriously because this player gets drafted. You see a picture of the player. They wear that the team logo hat, and they take a picture with the coach and the GM. Then that player doesn't get to be a star in the league. They're playing special teams or whatever. So it's tough for the fans to take the league seriously. Obviously, it's the CFL draft. It's a crapshoot. And UGMs and coaches don't talk about it's a crapshoot. It's all noise. Yeah, the CFL draft is all noise, man. They draft all these players, and half of them get cut or on a practice roster, and the other guys all play special teams where they get limited reps. Like, I mean, there was a guy who played for the Carlton Ravens. My youngest brother played for Carlton Ravens. He got drafted, I think, in the early rounds, and he was a returner for the CFL, amazing returner, but he didn't get his. They're not starting. He didn't get his opportunity to shine up, obviously. Just give these athletes their time to shine. They'll be amazing players in your league, CFL. Yeah. Just put them through better conditioning and training and coaching, and you'll get amazing quality on the field. Sarah? Yeah. The CFL is the CFL in America. Yes, it is, but it's very limited. Very limited. It is the CFL also they're in some places in America too, but no one in America cares about the CFL. Because I remember when I went to when I did my acting thing and I went to the States to Virginia, obviously to pursue my acting. When I signed with that marketing company, I remember when I was staying in a motel, I saw the CFL game in American television. I saw a bit of the game. I saw the game. It was like the Edmonton Eskimos versus Edmonton team. The CFL is also in America too, but no one in America cares about the CFL, man. They don't care about the CFL. That's just the truth, right? They don't give a shit about the CFL people in America. They don't care about the CFL. Yeah, there you go. Obviously. Forget about the Americans. The Americans don't care about the CFL. Focus on the Canadian people. The people in the Canadians in Canada. That's what you have to focus on. You have to focus on growing the CFL in Canada. Forget about the States. The States doesn't care about the CFL. I heard there's rumors the CFL wants to expand to the States, which I think is a bad idea, man. Keep the CFL guys Canadian only. Don't have them expand the States, man. Don't do that. Back in the day, there used to be a few American CFL teams, but those teams flopped. So now it's just Canadian teams. Yeah, keep the CFL just Canadian city teams. Don't expand to the States. It's a bad idea. It didn't work before. Don't do that again. They're not going to do that to CFL. They tried it in the 90s and the 80s, whatever it is. It didn't work. Now it's just Canadian cities in Canada, obviously. Yeah, never going to happen, though. Ivan, man, the quality was dead, man. It won't be as entertaining football. We can't do that. Yeah, never going to happen. Never going to happen, obviously. 'Cause, 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 ' So I do believe the CFL is not growing. Yeah, I believe the CFL is not growing because they rely solely on the American talent, like Herb Brooks said, right? They rely on the American talent to grow the league. But even though the American talent's amazing, they don't have high market value here because they're from a different country, guys. And you're marketing these American guys from different countries to the Canadian people. And that's how you want to grow the league. So you're blinded by the American talent. Because they're talented and they're stars up here, let's market these guys to the Canadian people who are from a different country. And this is how we grow the league. Instead of marketing the Canadian talent to the Canadian people, who are actually known talent and they can relate to, they're Canadian, to the league, to the Canadian people. It's very weird. This, you know what I'm saying? Because the CFL is blinded by the we're blinded by the American talent. The more talent they put on the show, this is how we grow the league. Well, if your league has minimum growth in 10 years, CFL, obviously something is not working. You have to find a way to market these American star players more in your league, CFL. Something is obviously not working, don't you? So, yeah. Obviously something is not working, sir. Yeah. So why it's tough for you to relate to American players? Yes, it is, man. Even in the Grey Cup, when you see the American players, the person says does the national anthem. They sing the national anthem. They're like, "Oh, Canada," you know what I'm saying? And you see the American athletes, the star players. You know what I'm saying? They're like, "Oh, Canada." It's a bit weird to me because these guys are not Canadian. They're from America. I don't resonate with them that much. And then when they win the Grey Cup, well, they usually do a thing where like the QB of the team, they talk to the Canadian fans. They say something to the Canadian fans. They say, "Thank you so much. I love you guys." You know what I'm saying? It's amazing and you're happy for the guy, but it's a bit weird because they're American. You can't resonate with them. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. That's just how I feel personally. You know, all you see guys, I know what you're saying, man. It's a bit weird because they're American and they're not from here. Yeah, you can't really resonate with them. Yeah, you can't resonate. That's my point, right? 20%. Yeah. Sarah. Ivan, you got to give these guys an opportunity to play pro football. Okay, let me ask you a question. Does the NFL really give much opportunity for the Canadian players? No, they don't, Ivan. Yeah, they give very, very limited opportunity. If they do get an opportunity, chances are they're going to end up on a practice roster. So the American Pro Football League, the NFL, barely gives Canadian players opportunity to play there. And you somehow think these American guys should have the opportunity to play up here when you should be giving the Canadian players the opportunity to play in their own country. These American players are not from Canada, they're from the States. The Canadian players deserve to shine up here, not the American players, guys. They're not Canadian, they're American. They never want to be in your CFL to begin with. So talking to all you CFL star American players, let me ask you a question. Was playing in the CFL your dream? No, it wasn't, Ivan. We're only here by default. Yeah, you're only here by default, guys, because you didn't get your NFL opportunity. That's why you guys are here. You guys ended up here. Otherwise, you never would have played here to begin with, man. You're only here by default. Yeah, Ivan, you're right. We're only here by default. Some of you guys are using our CFL as a farm league to get an NFL opportunity. You guys don't talk about, yeah, Ivan, you're right. Yes. So how's that fair, CFL? It's not fair, obviously, right? It's not fair. They go. But CFL doesn't care. We don't care if they never wanted to be here to begin with. Only here by default. They're very talented. They put on a show. Let's just have them be the stars and promote them in Canada. This is how we go to the league, Ivan. Yeah, that sounds kind of desperate, CFL. You're just wanting to bring all these guys up from the States who never want to be here to begin with. They're only here by default, and have them be the stars of the league, and half those guys end up leaving. That's how you know they never want to be here to begin with. And you promote these American guys to the Canadian people, and this is how you go to the league, CFL. Seriously, I think that's a very weird way. I think it's a very desperate, weird way of growing the league. Because I think you're trying to be the NFL of Canada. Yeah, we want quality football, man. Guys, stop trying to be the NFL. The NFL is for the American people. The CFL is for the Canadian people. Stop trying to be the NFL. You're never going to be the NFL. But the CFL, they're obviously trying to be the NFL of Canada. That's why they bring out the American players. I think why, ever since the league started, the CFL had this bias, because when the NFL grew in popularity, okay, the NFL is more popular than the CFL. We need to bring all these American athletic guys. Hopefully this league can grow and it can become popular like the NFL. But what the CFL doesn't realize is that even though the NFL grew in popularity, these American athletes are American. They resonate to the American people. People in Canada, they resonate more with the Canadian people, but you bring all these American guys and market them, and somehow that's how you grow the CFL in the Canadian league with Canadian people, obviously. It's very weird. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go swimming after this, guys. I'm only gonna talk for maybe an hour, and I'm done, guys. I'm gonna go swimming. I'm gonna go pick up my check at Dinty's, my shitty check, and then I'll watch a show with you guys, get my beer, my 240s, my package meals. I'll probably get Bob's Pizza, maybe. The slices, no. I'll probably get maybe the garlic bread with maybe monster sticks. I don't know. At Bob's, I don't know. Yeah. So the CFL, yeah, the CFL obviously is blinded. They rely on the American talent to grow the league, regardless of if the fans in Canada don't resonate with them, if they're clueless. They're they're just blinded by, yeah. I mean, like, they're talented. They put on a show up here. This is how we have to promote these guys to the Canadian people. So you want to promote the American talent in a Canadian country to the Canadian people in your Canadian football league, CFL, and you're seeing very limited growth. I think something is obviously not working in your league, CFL. Well, because they're blinded, yeah, Ivan, man, we can't do that. The Canadian athletes are just not talented enough to put on good enough quality football for the Canadian fans, Ivan. That's what they would tell me, obviously. That's why it's never going to happen. Here they go. Some Sarah? I know the Canadian coaches in the CFL better than the American coaches. No, there's not much. There's no difference, right? As the best coach in CFL history is Wally Bono, and he's Canadian. Wally Bono was a Canadian coach, and he's the best CFL coach in history. That's how you know it doesn't really make that much of a difference, right? With the coaches doesn't really make that much of a difference. As the best CFL coach in history is Wally Bono. He's like a legend CFL head coach. Dwayne Johnson knows Wally Bono. He talked about him. Yeah, he said how Wally Bono was a class act guy. Before Dwayne Johnson went to WWE, his dream was playing pro football in the NFL, but he didn't make the NFL. He ended up in the CFL and he got cut. Wally Bono cut him, obviously. That's how he knows him. But it's an amazing story how he went to WWE and now he's a huge Hollywood star, right? And he's worth all those hundreds of millions. Amazing story, obviously, with Dwayne Johnson, right? But Dwayne Johnson got cut by Wally. Wally Bono cut him, man. This is back in the early 90s before he went to WWE, right? Dwayne Johnson, right? Yeah. But Dwayne Johnson played in the CFL. He got cut. It wasn't good enough, obviously. Played NCAA. He wanted to play in the NFL. He didn't get an opportunity. He ended up in the CFL and he got cut by Wally Bono. Wally Bono cut his ass. And now he's a huge white Hollywood star. Amazing story, obviously. Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. Yeah, the greatest CFL coach in history is a Canadian coach, Wally Bono. Obviously. He's like a CFL legendary coach. He has 5 Grey Cups in his career as a head coach. Greatest CFL coach in history. He's Canadian. Obviously. Canadian coach, right? Yeah. Yeah. I even vlog the pool plays. No. When I hit like episode 45, I'll vlog. Obviously at the pool place, but yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, huh? Why does the Carlton Ravens really have better facilities? Yeah, my youngest brother told me, he's like, yeah, the Carlton Ravens have better facilities than the Ottawa Redblacks. And I was laughing. I was fucking done. Yeah, the Ottawa Redblacks don't have that great. It's not bad, but their facilities are not that great either. Like our Carlton Ravens have better facilities. Carlton Ravens is a very rich, arguably the richest team in the whole CIS because it's privately. They have private investors, like rich people who are obviously. I heard they have a big like budget, $1+ million budget per season for the team. Man, it's a rich team. The Carlton Ravens, they spoil them with buffets and everything. My youngest brother told me that. Yeah, Carlton Ravens have better facilities than the Ottawa Redblacks. I'm like, really? Yeah, that's funny. I'm saying, yeah. All right, so that's how it works. Yeah, the CFL, like the West teams are the richer teams. The East teams are good poor. They don't make as much money in the East. The West teams make more money, obviously. That's how it works in the CFL, right? The West teams they have chartered flights. But I heard the East teams they don't have chartered flights. They fly commercial with everyone else, obviously, because they don't make as much money, obviously. Yeah. Either the CFL's cheap, they don't want to pay for the chartered flights, or they can't afford it. No, we could afford it, but like we don't want to pay for that, man. The league is not making as much money as the other leagues. We gotta keep some of this money. This is good enough for the players, obviously, because yeah. But if the league grows to $400 million, guys, $500 million, all your teams can now have chartered flights in the East and everything. Yeah, because I heard the East teams they don't have chartered flights. The West teams have chartered flights. The East teams they don't have chartered flights. I heard that's how it works, right? Yeah. Ivan, what's the richest team in the CFL? The Saskatchewan Roughriders. By far the richest team in the CFL. Yeah, and I think second is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the second richest team in the CFL. I think third is Calgary Stampeders, and fourth is the BC Lions. The West teams make money. They're more profitable teams. They're richer. Whereas the East teams are not as rich, obviously, as the West teams. That's how it works, right? Yeah. Saskatchewan Roughriders are rich, yeah. Saskatchewan Roughriders are such a rich team, obviously, that they beat out even most NHL teams in profit. Not revenue, but profit. They're beating out even most of the NHL teams in profit. They're the third, I believe, richest pro team in Canada, Saskatchewan Roughriders. Number one is Toronto Maple Leafs. Second is Montreal. Third is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Obviously, I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what I read like years ago. I don't know what it is now, but Saskatchewan Roughriders are the third richest pro team in Canada. They're even beating out all the NHL teams in profit, not revenue. The NHL makes way more money than the CFL teams in revenue, but profit. Saskatchewan Roughriders are her number three, after Toronto Maple Leafs and Montreal West, because the team Saskatchewan is a small. It's a farm province, and it's the only pro team in that province. And the Saskatchewan Roughrider fans are diehard fans. They love the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's why it's such they're a rich team. Obviously, they're the richest CFL team. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, obviously. Yeah. But maybe not anymore. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. My point is, man, if the CFL made this change, like the league can double in revenue, man. I think in 10 years it can make $500 million. In 10 years. $450, $500 million in 10 years. it can grow in 10 years, obviously. It's never going to happen. All right, we can't do that, man. The star American athletes are what is the reason why the league has grown, obviously. Because you're relying solely on the American talent, CFL. We're blinded by we're blinded by the American talent. We don't care if they're unknowns to the Canadian people. You know what I'm saying? We promote the heck out of them. This is how we grow the league. But like when you say that, it almost sounds, CFL, that you're desperate to just be the NFL of Canada. Like, it doesn't matter if these guys may be very talented, but they're from a different country. We promote all these unknown guys to Canadian people. They're CFL stars, and this is how we grow the league. It's very weird. Like, you should be promoting the CFL with the Canadian star players, CFL, not the American guys from a different country who the fans have no clue about, man, and who they can't resonate with because they're from a different country. It's very weird. When they talk about like this quarterback is the best quarterback in the league, this quarterback has, I don't know, 3,500 yards passing so far in the league. He has 20 touchdowns. Is it cool? Yes, it is cool. I respect the person. Oh my God, this guy's a CFL star. It's cool. But because he's American, like, I don't really care that much. I can't resonate with these guys. They're Americans from a different country. Like, you guys from Sarah? Yeah. That's the way I feel. Don't hate him, son. Yeah. So it'd be nice for the CFL to succeed, and the league has higher growth in Canada, but I mean, the league has had very minimal growth over the past couple of years, for years, obviously. God, you're such a fucking dick. All the American CFL says, you're such a fucking dick, man. You're putting us down. Well, you American players who come from the States put us Canadian players down too. You think we're shitty American Canadian athletes until you come up here and you get cut off. A lot of you guys get cut. Yeah, we look down on you Canadian athletes. You're not as good as us, man. Obviously. And there you go. You also look down on CFL. Obviously, until you come up here and you play and you love the league, obviously. So a lot of the American NCAA athletes who not get drafted in the NFL, they think the CFL is some shitty league. They're gonna come here and kill the league. And they come up here, a lot of them get cut, they get released, and they get to be CFL stars. And oh my God, like this is almost as good as the NFL. This is fun, like amazing, entertaining football, and they love it up here. And they're CFL stars. They underestimate the league, and they come up here and they love the league. Obviously, but I told you, even though they love the league and are CFL stars, some of them, when they get an NFL opportunity, they take the opportunity and they leave. But some of them just stay up here. Not all of them leave the NFL, obviously, right? That's how it works, right? Yeah. Is CFL more entertaining football than the NFL? No, it's not. The NFL is more entertaining. It's higher quality football, but the CFL is it's more fun football. It's more fun football, but NFL is more entertaining football. If that makes sense, right? It's more higher quality entertaining football. The NFL. Some Sarah, the CFL. Yeah. So you're sick of the bias. Yeah, I'm sick of I'm sick of the American bias, man. Like, yeah, it's fun. I love watching the CFL, but I'm sick and tired of the CFL and TSN panel promoting all these, marketing all these American star athletes, and there's no Canadian guys in the league. Like this is fucking cat. This is ridiculous, man. That's why I made the CFL video, because I'm sick of the bias. I can't take it anymore, man. It's really annoying. It's all about the American guys and barely any Canadian star players playing up here. It's not fair. I think. Oh. Is there? Is there? But maybe you're wrong, man. Maybe promoting the Canadian Football League with a Canadian town, maybe that's not the right way to go. Maybe the league might even dip in revenue because the quality is not as good. So maybe I might be wrong. But I think that if you want to grow the league substantially, I think that's how you grow the league. By promoting it with a Canadian homegrown talent and getting rid of the American talent. But I mean, some people do. I disagree with you. I think the quality will dip, the league will dip in revenue, Ivan. You can dip by bit, Ivan, a little bit in revenue. That's what the CFL's scared of. That's why it's never going to happen. Obviously. Because I'm a genius, okay. The CFL, when I watch many CFL games, the CFL games are high quality, entertaining football. The American athletes put on a show. The Canadian star players put on a show too. The American star players put on a show in the CFL. That the league is seeing very minimal growth. I figured out, and they promote the American talent like hell on CFL and TSN with the TSN promo. Obviously, and what they'll even do a thing where they say like the TSN doesn't say okay, watch the CFL on TSN. They have like a picture of like I don't know, Bo Levi Mitchell and like Zach Caleros. You know what I'm saying? And like yeah, it's cool and everything. They're doing their very best to promote these guys, but like I'm excited for the game because they're American. I don't really relate to them. They're not Canadian. I don't really care that much. Like you guys see what I'm saying? That's just how I feel as a Canadian. As a Canadian, obviously. The CFL does try their best to promote these American guys on TSN and everything, and yet they're seeing very little growth in their television viewership. So there's two reasons why I think the CFL is not growing substantially. It's growing, but it has minimal growth. They're not like making that much money. It's minimal growth. So my guess is either the fans of Canada, all you Canadian people in Canada, you don't care about the CFL, or they don't care that much about these American star players who are playing the CFL. They don't resonate with them. That's my two answers, obviously. I think you CFL fans are driving, yeah, Those are two good answers. Yeah, either all you guys in Canada, when the CFL's on TV, when the CFL games are on TV and they promote the heck out of all these players, you guys just don't care about Canadian football, or there is a bigger market for Canadian football, but you're not ready. Yeah, we love football, but we don't resonate with these American guys. They're not from. We don't really care about these star players because they're not Canadian. Those are my two answers of why the CFL is not growing, obviously. But the CFL will tell me, Ivan, the reason why the CFL is not growing, there's just not a big market for Canadian football in Canada. Obviously, that's what they would tell me. Yeah, that is true. Maybe there's not that big of a market for Canadian football in Canada, or there is a bit of a bigger market for it, but they're not resonating with your star American players, CFL, because they're American from a different country. They can't resonate with these guys. They don't even know these guys are not where they even came from. They just happen to come up here and be stars, and they're talented and very talented, and they're doing very good in the league. But the fans can't resonate with these guys. That's my point. I don't hate them saying yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, almost done. I'll talk for like an hour and I'm done. Then I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna go swimming, guys. Go swimming, yeah. After that, I'm gonna go pick up my check at Disney's. I get like, I don't know, an $80, $90 check, a $90, $100 check. Shitty paycheck because I took the weekend prior off. The week prior off, obviously. I'm talking to you, NFL. If the majority of your star players in the NFL were Canadian athletes, NFL, I'm talking to all you American football fans. If the majority of the NFL star, hypothetically speaking, if the majority of the star players in the NFL were Canadian athletes as the star players, would you guys really care? We wouldn't care that much. We don't resonate with those Canadian guys. Yeah, we have the same situation here. Us Canadians, I don't know how you Canadians feel or you CFL fans feel. But for me personally, when they promote these American star athletes in the CFL, even though they're amazing players and they're putting on a show up here, because they're American, they're from a different country, I don't really care that much about them because I can't resonate with them, man. They're from a different country, I don't relate to them. They're American, yeah. Even when they talk to the fans, and everything after the Grey Cup, because usually when the CFL has a Grey Cup championship, obviously, because the quarterbacks are all the American stars, obviously, they do a thing where like they give the microphone to the star quarterback, and then they talk to the Canadian people, the Canadian fans. I love you guys. You guys are so amazing. Thank you guys. I'm saying it's amazing they got to win the Grey Cup, but it's a bit weird because they're American and you don't really resonate with them. They're from a different country. I'm saying it's weird. Sarah? No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's just my Canadian bias. I don't really resonate with them that much because they're American. No, I'm saying, yeah. Well, it's just a fucking dick, man. Well, it's just the truth, man. I'm Canadian. You guys are American. I don't really resonate that much with you guys, right? Yeah. Yeah. Obviously. I do care when like the American star quarterbacks win the Grey Cup. Yes, I do a little bit. I'm happy for them. Yeah, man, this guy's a star, man. He brought us to the Grey Cup. It's cool. Because they're American, they're not Canadian. I don't resonate with them. I don't really care that much because I don't resonate with them because they're from a different country. That's my point, right? They're American. They're not Canadian. They're American players. Yeah, I don't think I'm saying, yeah. What about the coaches? No, the coaches, I don't care. Like coaching, I don't care if the guy's American or Canadian. That's a different story. When it's the players, that's when I care. because they're the product on the field, right? The players are the product of the on the field for the league, obviously. In every pro sport league, the athletes are the product of the league. They're the product of the league right now. Some saying? Why do they ever talk about this star Canadian player being the best receiver in the league? Barely. It's all the American guys. The only thing I remember was they talked about John Cornish. I remember the panel talk about John Cornish being the best, perhaps being the best running back in the league, and also Andrew Harris. The panel talked about that. When they did, I was actually more interested because they're Canadian. Holy shit, man! These Canadian guys are the best as the league. But because I know the lead, the most of the stars, the American players, I don't have as I'm not as invested in the league, right? Because it's filled with all these American stars, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But the fact that a Canadian athlete is actually one of the best guys in the league, that that gives me hope. Obviously, that maybe in the future more Canadian stars will be the stars of the league. But I know it's never going to happen. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it gives me that hope. Obviously, that's how you know the Canadian players are more valuable than the American players. We know that, but like in us towns, we got to give the American players their time to shine. Right? When they're not even Canadian, they're American people from a different country. It's very weird. Yeah. Got some Sarah? Almost there, guys. I want to go take my shower and go swimming at the pool place. And after that, I'm going to go pick up my check at Dinty's. My shitty check, right? I hope I get my welfare check in maybe a good 2 weeks, man. I'm running low on cash. Obviously. 3 months left, guys. We're done 2025. It's crazy how time flies by. I know, Ivan. We're going to 2026. It's crazy. I'll be 34 years old next year, man. I'm getting old, huh? 34 years old. Crazy, man. Oh, you're getting old. Yeah, I know. In 7 years, I'll be 40 years old. That's crazy. Yeah. You know you're getting old when you're older than all these star pro athletes, right? Most of the star pro athletes in the CFL and NFL are all younger than me, man. Yeah, all these guys are all younger than me. That's how you know you're getting old. I'm getting old. Obviously. Yeah, I remember there was a linebacker. This is when Enoch Mwamba got drafted in the first overall pick in 2011. I remember when Enoch Mwamba got drafted in 2011. I saw the draft back in 2011, and now he's retired and he's a sports anchor. It's crazy how time flies by, huh? Yeah, Enoch Mwamba was drafted the first overall pick, obviously. And there was this other linebacker who played for the Western Mustangs in CIS. He killed the league. He was like, the scouts loved him and everything. His name was John Surla, obviously. And he went to the CFL Combine. They did a documentary about him on CFL, on CFL.ca. He did horrible at the Combine. He was an undrafted, unsigned free agent. He signed with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He ended up on the practice roster, but like he didn't get drafted because he didn't do good in the Combine. He did horrible at the Combine. But he did amazing at university, and he was the CFL scouts loved him. He was a high ranked player in the CFL scouting system, right? But he flopped at the Combine, and he didn't get drafted. They did a documentary about that. They filmed the whole thing, obviously, and I was very interested in that documentary because he's Canadian. I can relate to him. It's just my automatic Canadian bias. But then when they do documentaries with these other American guys, I don't really care that much because they're not Canadian. You guys see what I'm saying? All you CFL fans, a lot of you guys saw, John Surla did a documentary back in 2011. He didn't get drafted. It was an amazing documentary. Like you show him, it shows him like he goes to the Combine. He goes on the train. He gets off in Toronto, and I'm saying he does his testing. And they even filmed him talking to the GMs and the coaches for the teams in the meeting rooms, right? During the Combine, and he did horrible in the Combine. They filmed him at home watching the CFL draft with his family and everything. He didn't get drafted, and he was devastated. And then like his agent called him, the Winnipeg are interested in you. He's like, okay, and he signed with them. But even though he didn't get drafted, it's an amazing story, amazing documentary. I was like very interested in that documentary, whereby I saw it like 5, 6, 7 times, man. Like this is fucking sick, man. Yeah, because he's Canadian, I can relate to him, obviously. Yeah. It was all these documentaries with all these American guys. I don't really care that much because I can't relate to them. They're American players. I don't know anything about these guys. Obviously. Did you know much about John Surla? No, I didn't, but I knew he played CIS for the Western Mustangs. I knew he was an amazing linebacker there. I knew a little bit about him, but like I can relate to him more because he's Canadian, right? It's just my automatic Canadian bias. Where these American guys, I can't relate to them because they're American. They're from a different country. That's my point. Obviously. So even though the American players are more talented than the Canadian players are more valuable to me because I can relate to them, regardless of if they're not as good players. They're more valuable to me because I'm Canadian. I have my Canadian bias. That's just the way I feel. I think obviously fans are I see what you're saying. Like all you guys in CFL who saw the John Surla documentary on the CFL website. The CFL is the one who did the documentary with John Surla. A lot of you fans probably, we saw that. Yeah, we're a lot more invested in that than when they talk about Osama and Minion, right? Like which documentary are you more drawn to? Yeah, the John Surla one, because he's Canadian. We have our Canadian bias. It's just the automatic Canadian bias that you have, right? Some singer? Yeah. Whereas the American guys, when you do documentaries about them, yeah, it's cool. I care a little, but I don't care that much. Because they're American, they're from a different country. I can't relate to them. But they always do that story, like, yeah, man, I was an undrafted, unsigned free agent. I didn't get my opportunity, and I got to play an opportunity to play football up here. Amazing story, but I don't really care that much because they're American. I don't even know who these guys even are. They're from a different country. I can't relate to them. I know they never want to be here to begin with. They're just here by default. So I don't really relate to them that much because they're from a different country. That's just the way I feel, right? Oh, Hameson, yeah. They did a documentary about Solomon. I remember I saw that. This is years ago. They did a documentary on TSN about Solomon and Minion. This is, I think, during the Great Cup or something like that. I don't remember. They did a documentary about him, and it's an amazing story how he didn't get his NFL opportunity. He got to be a CFL star. He's a pro athlete up here. He's like, yeah, Wally Bono contacted me, and he gave me an opportunity to play football up here in Canada and all stuff. He's a CFL star. It's an amazing story. I'm like, yeah, you're moved by the story. Because the CFL, they do that a lot. They try to move you with the story, obviously, to promote these players. But like, yeah, it's cool, it's an amazing story, but I don't really care that much, man. Like, they're American, I can't relate to them. And in a couple years after that, when they did that document, after Saul Mannion does that documentary, and it was a heartwarming, like, moving documentary. Like, it was an amazing story. How, you know what I'm saying? They talk about, like, you know what I'm saying? They gave you information about what school he went to, where he grew up in the States. Obviously, something like that, right? And a couple years later, he leaves the NFL. So it's tough for you to really resonate with these players because they're American, they're from a different country. And I know their dream was never playing in the CFL. Their dream was playing in the NFL. So it's tough to resonate with these guys. I'm saying, oh, yeah. I think it's your boundaries. I was just saying, I agree, man. It's tough to resonate with them because they're American, they're from a different country. We don't know anything about these guys, and they never want to really be here. They're only here by default. But even though they're here by default, they get to be CFL stars. It's an amazing story. It really is. It's an amazing story, and I'm moved a little bit by it, but I don't really care that much because they're American. I can't relate to them. They're from a different country. Like, they're from a fucking different country, guys. They're not Canadian. They're American players. They're not Canadian players. I should say, no, I'm saying, yeah. But I was much more moved by the John Serlo documentary because he's Canadian. It's just my own not Canadian bias. Right, Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. The GMs know that these American guys they bring never want to be here. Yes, they're not stupid. They know these American guys' dream is playing in the NFL. They just happen to be here by default because the CFL is blinded by the talent. We know it. We don't care if these guys never really want to be here. They're only here by default. They're talented. They put on a show. Hopefully, we can keep them here. This is how we grow the league. Yeah, it almost sounds CFL like you're desperate. They just bring all these American guys up here and have them be the stars and promote them to the Canadian people when they don't even know these guys even are. And a lot of these star players that you promote, they end up leaving to the NFL. So it's like, it almost sounds like CFL, you're kind of desperate to just, we want to put on high quality football line. Yeah, because you're trying to be the NFL of Canada, CFL. Stop trying to be the NFL. You're never going to be the NFL. I'm sorry, you're never going to be the NFL. There you go, don't names, and yeah. Stop trying to be the NFL of Canada. Instead, try to be the CFL of Canada. Stop trying to be the NFL of Canada. The American players playing in the NFL. Focus on being the CFL of Canada, not trying to be the NFL of Canada by bringing in these American guys. CFL. Because obviously the CFL is trying to be the NFL of Canada. That's why they bring the American guys, because the American guys are very talented athletes who come up here. They put on a show. It's almost as good as the NFL. Yeah, it's almost as good as the NFL. I want to put on good quality football. Yeah, but you've been putting on good quality football for years, CFL, and you're seeing very minimal growth. So obviously something is not working. Either people in Canada don't care about your CFL, or they're not resonating with your star American players. Those are my two answers. Obviously, it's common sense, right? Yeah. Sarah? Yeah. Everything VG last. That's funny, man. There's actually a bias. Yeah, VJ. There's a bias in our pro league up here in Canada, the CFL, towards the American talent. It's ridiculous, man. In our own country, in our own Canadian country, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. The CIS has a good what? Almost on here. The CIS has a good, I don't know, 23. There's a good like 23, 24 teams competing in the CIS for the championship. On average, a good 6,000, 7,000 fans go to each of the games. Some places even 12,000 fans, 10,000 fans. So let's say on average you have 7,000 fans. On average, going to each CIS game is 6, 7. Let's say 6,000 fans. 7,000 fans. 6,000 fans on average go to each game. There's 23 schools around there times 23. That's 138,000 people watching the CIS games. But there's some schools that even have 10. Like Laval, they have like 16,000 fans at the game, right? So you're looking at a good 100, like maybe 60,000 fans, CFL, going to the CIS games every year. So I think there is a demand for football in Canada. You just gotta, the best way is to promote it by promoting it with the Canadian talent, obviously. I'm sorry? There is a bigger demand for football, obviously. I'm sorry, I know Hameson, yeah. Why the Saskatchewan Roughriders is the most popular team? Because it's the only pro football team in that region, obviously. That's where I was born, by the way. Saskatchewan is like a farm. Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan is like a farm province, pretty much, right? Like a farm province in Canada, and like the Saskatchewan Roughriders are the only pro team there. That's why it's so popular over there. It's very, very popular football over there, and that's why it makes the most money out of all the CFL teams, obviously. Obviously. Very popular, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Very, very popular CFL team. Most popular CFL team in Canada, right? It's not, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are number one. They're number one, obviously. Obviously. Ivan, what's the least popular CFL team? I think it's the Montreal Alouettes. Montreal Alouettes, yeah. Heard the Montreal Alouettes, they're struggling, obviously. The Montreal Alouettes. I know why, because the Montreal Alouettes are competing with the Montreal Canadiens, which is a very, very popular NHL team. They can't compete with the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal. Obviously. Montreal Alouettes, I think, is the poorest CFL team in the league, I believe. Yeah, Montreal Alouettes are the poorest CFL team in the league. Obviously. Because I heard stories about players like I even like when they go to games, do they have their own coaches? Yes, they have their own coaches, but I heard like when the players go to games, I heard stories in the past how they're taking on the school bus to practice and everything. Yeah, I heard the Montreal Alouettes are the poorest team in the CFL, obviously. I think the Montreal Alouettes are the poorest team in the CFL. Obviously. As a Montreal Alouettes, they don't have their own like pro stadium. They play at McGill University. They play at the University of McGill. Obviously, they play there. Obviously, that's funny. I know. They play at the at the McGill University Stadium, the Montreal Alouettes. Yeah, that's where they play, right? That's their pros. So the McGill University they play there, and the Montreal they share the stadium, and Montreal West also share a stadium. The CFL does that. Like I think 3 teams in the CFL they share stadiums with the university teams. Winnipeg Blue Marlins do that too. The Calgary Stampeders, also share their stadium with the university team too. Obviously, that's how it works, right? I mean, that's funny. I know. Yeah. Obviously, but I heard rumors the CFL plans on building a new stadium for the Calgary. They want to build a nice brand new stadium for the Calgary Stampeders because they're sharing the same stadium with the university. And I heard they also want to build a new stadium for yeah. But even though the Winnipeg Blue Bombers share a stadium with the University of Manitoba, like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are actually like they have a beautiful stadium. It's a fucking nice stadium. It's a nice stadium. Whereas the Montreal West Stadium is not the nicest stadium. The McGill University Stadium is not the nicest stadium, but they share stadiums. Obviously, the university teams and the pro team, right? They share the same university. That's how it works. The same stadium. That's how it works, right? That's funny. I know. Obviously, CFL's a blue collar league, man. It's not like CFL does not make the kind of money that the other big pro sport team makes. It's a blue collar league and it's struggling a little bit financially, and it's struggling to attract the fans. That's why you have that in the league. Obviously, it's not a huge league like the NFL, right? Oh my goodness, yeah. But I believe if the league grows, if the league can grow to I don't know 450, $500 million your revenue business. In 10 years, the CFL can now put money into better facilities for the players. For the Eastern teams, the Western teams already have good enough facilities, but for the Eastern teams, you can put money in CFL into better facilities, man. That'll be my plan, yeah, man. Like if this league grows, you guys can now upgrade your facilities for the players, for the star Canadian athletes, better training facilities. Because right, your facilities CFL for your Eastern teams are kind of a joke. You can upgrade it, you know what I'm saying, and you can grow the league, obviously. You see what I'm saying? Oh, he was saying, yeah. Yeah. What teams you like more, the Western teams or the Eastern teams in the CFL? The Western teams. I'm more drawn to the Western teams I am the Eastern teams. It's really weird. Even though I'm from Ottawa, I don't really like. I'm not really an Ottawa Red Black fan. I'm more of like a Western team. I don't really have a favorite CFL team, but the Ottawa Red Blacks are not my favorite CFL team. I like the Western teams more than the Eastern teams. The CFL I just do. I'm not like the Ottawa Red Blacks are not my favorite CFL team, obviously. Even though I'm from Ottawa, I live right next to Ottawa, right? They're not my favorite CFL team. I'm sorry. Yeah. See if we ever that change? No, never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. It's risky. It's a little bit risky, obviously. Yeah. Guarantee all 2 rounds of the eye, and you're right, man. Like making this change, the league could be huge. It could be huge, man. The league can make 500, and in 15 years, the league can even make $600 in revenue, man. In like 15 years, man, it could be. I mean, it has potential to be huge if you promote the Canadian talent, but man, it's risky. The quality will do. That's why they're never going to do that. Never going to happen. Yeah. Never going to happen. So it has higher potential. Yes, if the CFL promotes the homegrown Canadian talent, it has a huge potential to double in revenue in like 10 years to like a $500+ million a year business. But there's a higher risk because the quality will dip. So the CFL has that dilemma. They would have that dilemma. Whereas for the American players, there's no risk. There's no risk obviously because they put on a good show, good enough quality football on television, obviously. But the potential's not as great because, in my opinion, the American players, the fans don't really resonate with them. So it's like the CFL has a dilemma. Yeah, it's safer to just promote the league with the American players, and this is how we go to the league. That's why they do that. Because it's not for television, for the television viewership and the quality of football. It's not risky. It's good quality football, but the potential of the league growth is not as high because they're American players. They don't really resonate that well with fans, in my opinion. Right? The Canadian players resonate more with the fans. They have higher market value. This thing could be huge. It could double in revenue in 10 years, but there's a higher risk because the quality will dip. But if the quality dips and less people tune into television, the league can drop in revenue. So you have the risk and the higher risk and the higher reward thing with the CFL. If I pitch this to them, yeah, even there's a higher potential for this thing to be huge, but it's also a little bit risky. Ivan, the quality will dip. I'll tell them, look, man, put them through better conditioning and training in the off season, and also on-field training and better coaching for the coaches. That's what I'll tell them, obviously. That way you get a better quality football from the best Canadian players. That's what I'll tell the committee. Well, I even know we can't do that, man. It's risky. Okay, I'm stepping down as CFL commissioner. I cannot find a way to grow your league. There we go. I'm sorry. Because Ivan, you're a genius, man. Like I have the wisdom of God. Whatever I put my mind into, I can succeed in. Obviously, I also have the keys. But like, let's say I was an average person. I did not have the keys to the kingdom, and if I was going to CFL commissioner, this would be my business strategy to grow the league. Obviously, they would lock me off as grades. I'm like, no, guys, I'm not kidding around. Like, I want to change the way the Canadian athletes play the game. I want to make this game more competitive. Put them through better. Remember how it works that? I'm saying, put them through better off-season training every season, better coaching, better conditioning. Okay, Ivan, better conditioning, better coaching, better off-season training, better on-field training from the coaches. Obviously, and promote them on the TSN Pro. We'll have a CFL panel talk about it, the way the people in Canada know. Promote the change. CFL's now Canada. Obviously, before every game, put a big billboard of this star quarterback versus this other quarterback. This star quarterback who got drafted in CIS, the way the fans in the city know, and that's how you promote the brand. Obviously. Samsara. And talk about CFL, the Canadian star athletes, CFL free agency to promote it and make it more interesting. Will Nathan Rook go to the Calgary Stampeders? Will he sign with the Calgary Stampeders? Will Trey Ford go to the Ottawa Red Blacks? You know what I'm saying? Will these franchise quarterbacks go, and it builds buzz, and that's how you grow the league. In a good 10 years, your revenue can double. Obviously, no, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're a genius. I know I'm a genius, obviously. Yeah. And promote the Canadian athletes at the universities, like occasionally during the season, not every week, but occasionally in the season. Doesn't hurt to put like to promote them at the universities. That way the fans universities know, and that's how they know, and they're more. That's how you go to the league, man. Because guys, the CIS universities is a good market to tap into. There's a good 1 million+ students that go to all the CIS universities in Canada. So if a good 250,000 of those people watch the games on television, you just increase your television ratings by 250,000, man. Because right now your CFL's peaking at 500,000 around there, I heard, in TV viewership. If you can have an increase of 250,000, that's already a huge improvement in your first season by making this change. And if you can just get another 250,000 people in Canada to watch, now you have a million people watching. You doubled your TV viewership in 1 year from 500,000 to a million, man. And a million people watching, that's very good, man. Yeah, and that's good, man. Yeah, like we'll make more money. The league will make more money. I know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah, I'm saying, yeah, I give genius, I know. Well, that's your business strategy, Ivan. Yeah, that's my business strategy. And it doesn't hurt to do not a few nationwide commercials for the star athletes. What main position? The quarterbacks. Promote the quarterbacks. They're the franchise players. Witness homegrown talent. CFL is now Canada, and you see, like, I don't know, Trey Ford, he does a commercial. You know what I'm saying? They promote him. And a lot of the people in that university, oh my God, I know Trey Ford. They're going to see that, oh, I'll tune into the game. Yeah, more people will come. I know I'm doing it. I have your genius, and I'm a genius on the scene. Sarah? Obviously. Whereas these American guys, these American quarterbacks, when they promote them when they promote them on TSN or they do nationwide commercials, all these university students, people don't have a clue who these guys even are, man. They can't relate to them. They're from a different country. They're American, man. You know what I'm saying? So they're obviously not resonating with these guys, or they just don't care about Canadian football. Those are my two answers. The committee's Ivan, man, you're a genius. You know how to really convince us, but this is risky. We can't do this. I'm like, guys, this has potential to be huge, man. You can double your league revenue in like 10 years, guys. Do this. It'll never be the NFL, but your league can be huge, man. Because you're trying to be the NFL of Canada instead of just being the CFL of Canada. Forget about the NFL. Stop trying to be the NFL of Canada. No. Try to be the CFL of Canada, the Canadian Football League of Canada, not the NFL of Canada. Because I believe the CFL, before I shut this camera here, you're trying to be the NFL of Canada. That's why you're bringing in all these amazing American athletes to be the stars of the league. Because you're trying to, we want it to almost be as good as the NFL. Yeah, but it's quality football, but you've been putting on quality football for years, and you're seeing very, very minimal growth. So obviously something is not working, right? Look, man, if you've been putting on quality football for years on television, and the Canadian fans don't care, that's how you know it's not about the quality of the game. It's more about the nationality playing in your game. I think it has to do with it's the American talent problem, obviously. They're not resonating with those guys. Yeah. Because I've seen CFL games. CFL games is very, very entertaining quality football, and yet the people in Canada still don't care that much. So obviously the quality is not really the issue. It has to be something else. So Sarah, either the fans of Canada just don't care about Canadian football regardless of the quality, or there is a bigger market for it, but they're not resonating with your American star players here. Well, that'll be my answer. Oh, you're just a fucking dick, man. Well, I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to be a dick. That's just the truth, right? Don't hate him, saying, yeah. Almost done, guys. I gotta go swimming. Yeah. Never gonna happen though. But that would be my business strategy, hypothetically speaking, if I'll see what commissioner. I think it would work. You know. The best way to promote the Canadian talent is on TSN because it's nationwide. Do promos, have the CFL panel talk about it. Like Matt Duggan and Mill Siegel, they talk about it obviously, and all those guys, right? That way you build buzz. And it doesn't hurt to do a few nationwide commercials for the quarterbacks. Okay, Ivan. And tap into the university market. Like, let the people in the university know that these star players are franchise players, and people will watch and they'll come. You don't have to worry about the game, and then people will watch on television. More people watch on television. I don't do it. Yeah, why? What if this flops? Obviously. What if it doesn't work? It's gonna work, guys. I know what I'm doing. It's gonna work. So I'm saying. That's what I'll tell them about CFL commissioner. Don't even send you out. How do you know it's gonna work? Because all the fans at the university, when they watch the CIS football games, they all come out to the games to support their what? Their university Canadian talent, obviously, at the university. What makes you think if you promote this to the Canadian people, a lot of people a lot of Canadians are going to be willing to support these guys, man, because they're Canadian, obviously. They can relate to them. That's what I'll tell them. That's a genius answer. I know I'm a genius, obviously. So, Sarah. Sarah? Yeah. So you believe? Yeah, I believe the CFL made this change, and they do what I'm suggesting on my channel. The league can double in revenue in 10, 11 years, man. In 10 years, the revenue could double. If they did make this change, hypothetically speaking, which is never going to happen, Milt Siegel, Matt Duggan, like they would talk about all these Canadian athletes, but like because they have their American bias, they're like, fuck, man. Like now the league is all filled with these Canadian guys. I don't really care about these Canadian guys, yeah, because they have their bias. Yeah. But for the sake of the goal of the league, they have to talk about the players. But yeah, it would be nice for these American guys to shine up here. Yeah, but guys, they're not Canadian, and you've been trying your best to promote the CFL of the American star players. It's not working. This is the way. They're not even from here, guys. They're fucking American. The Canadians who play here deserve to shine, not the American guys from a different country who never want to be here to begin with. They're only here by default. Some Sarah. Don't hate him, saying, you know. Guarantee all the Canadian draft picks and athletes playing in the CFL live, and like that'd be nice, man, for that to happen. But yeah, it's never gonna happen, guys. CFL doesn't trust you guys to put on a good enough of a show for the people who can on television. Even though the quality of football for the CIS games is good enough for the university Canadian students, but somehow it's not good enough for the rest of Canada. Like those are not even the best players playing in the country. Each CIS team only has maybe 2-3 guys who are star players who are eligible for the draft, and everyone else are all the players who don't get drafted, or I'm saying a few of them are unsigned undrafted free agents. So if it's good enough for the university athletes, if it's good enough for the university students who go to the university games to put on a show for them, as the fans go crazy university games, what makes you think it's not good enough for the rest of Canada? These are not even the best players in Canada. You got a good point there, Ivan. Still risky. We can't take that risk. Okay. That's what I'll tell them, obviously. Ivan, you're a genius. I know. I don't want to blow your mind. I'm a genius, obviously. Some Sarah. Fortunately, kind here. I know this will never happen, so if the CFL wants to promote the CFL, the American amazing talent, you guys are going to have to find a way to promote these guys more in Canada, because obviously something's not working because your league has very minimal growth. That's what I would say. Obviously, don't hate him, saying yeah. Anyways, guys, here's what I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm gonna go take a shower and I'm gonna go swimming, and I'll watch the show when I come back after you guys. I'm saying peace. Hope you guys enjoyed this CFL show. Peace out, guys. Don't hate him, son.